You're listening to Cash and Sass. I'm Lisa Marie, your go-to gal for all things money. As the Sassy Wealth Queen and the brains behind the Sassy Wealth Coach, I'm here to take you on a thrilling ride from the financial chaos to sassy and sexy money. Welcome back, my sassy friend, to another episode of Cash and Sass podcast. I am Lisa Marie, the brains behind this podcast and the Sassy Wealth Coach. And with me today, I have Terry L. Fossum. And he was raised in literally the poorest city in the entire U.S., surrounded by gangs and drugs, wrong end of an assault rifle in junior high in his own back alley, father killed when he was in high school, and told he would never grow up to be anything. His Oxcart technique helps people get out of their heads and laser focused on their goals. It's called the most significant advancement in the science of goal setting in recent history by Forrest M. Mims III, named one of the 50 best brains in science by Discover Magazine and other top minds in the world in science, business, and self-improvement. Number 1 best-selling author on Wall Street Journal. Number 2 TEDx talk in the world. Survival reality show winner, primetime on Fox. I really want to know about that. Top fraction of 1% in direct sales in the world. Former executive officer for an entire group of nuclear B-52 bombers during the Cold War, global adventure, and more. Y'all, we're going to have to probably have another. I'd have to know about the reality, and of course, we can't do that because we're going to talk about money. We know what we're going to talk about, right? And I want to know about the Oxcart. And first, your Oxcart technique. I am going to go out and assume and say that it's from your money transformation, your money journey. So can you tell us like where you were in that journey or how low you were? Because I love my listeners to be able to understand, one, they're not alone, and two, there is a way to the other side. I've shared my story many times. And by the way, you and I can have a conversation about the other thing with the rifle. And two, our stories are very similar, by the way, in its own self. But can you explain the journey apart of where you were and how you came up with Oxcart technique?
Yeah, sure will. But first of all, Lisa Marie, I want to thank you for what you're doing, because people got to understand their financial situation affects every aspect of their life.
Y'all, did y'all
one
hear
of the biggest
that?
reasons
See,
people
I
get
am
divorced.
not the only one that says that. Did you hear that?
Your health.
I say that on repeat for like all the time.
It's true. Your relationships, one of the biggest reasons for divorce is financial issues. Your health, I'm sorry, it's the truth. It depends on your financial situation in part. Everything, the way you view the world, everything. They say money can't buy happiness, but you know what? It's your health. So, Lisa Marie, thank you for being sassy and making sure people understand how critical this is and do something about it.
Right.
It's a passion point for mine. Okay. And I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to answer your question. Of course I am, but I'll tell you this. And I'm sorry if I hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm really not. Okay. Because we're here to help you. Okay. We want you to have the truth. That's what we want. Okay. One of the things that drives me insane is when I drive by the coffee shops, and people are paying, I don't know, $5, whatever it is for a cup of coffee. You know why I don't know? Because I don't go there. And listen, I'm not bragging about what I'm saying. I'm doing pretty well financially. Okay. I'm doing really well financially. I don't spend $5 on a cup of coffee. I drink Folgers here at the house. Why? Because it's wasting money. And it drives me insane. How many of those people, if you're listening, go, wait a minute, I need my cup of coffee. No, you need your finances in order. That's what you need more than you need a cup of coffee, which will bring us to our subject for today. Okay. Now, how did this Oxcart thing come to be? And of course, it's exploded. It's gone insane by absolute failure, by one of the lowest points of my entire life. See, I listened to all the conventional wisdom out there. I've been studying goal setting for years and years and years. I've been to the seminars. I read the books. I listened to the audios, everything. And I applied them. I got into direct sales, which for a mechanical engineer, nuclear warfare officer, not really a good fit. And I sucked at it, Lisa Marie. I was terrible. And I tried. I did everything they said. I did the positive visualizations. I did the dream boards. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I failed. And I tried, and I failed. And I tried, and I failed, and I failed. And I finally got to the point where I couldn't fail anymore. And I gave up.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked into the bathroom, and I looked at myself in the mirror. And I said, I guess that guy's right when he told my dad that I was never going to grow up to be anything. Guess he's right. And wait a minute. No. For the sake of the memory of my dad, if nothing else, I refuse to let that be true. And listen, and this is important for everybody listening in, okay? You can let your failure fuel your fire. That's what it's all about, man. We've all been there. There's not a single successful person on the face of the earth or beyond, even in orbit. How do I know? My brother's an astronaut. All right, this is true. Who hasn't failed and failed and failed. All right? If you're at that point, rejoice. You're in great company and you're on the path to success.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to let that failure fuel your fire. Here's what happened to me. And y'all are sassy here. Is that right, Lisa Marie? Y'all are sassy?
Oh, I'm sassy.
All right. So I can say some things. I can say some things?
Yes, as long as you understand that if I disagree, I'm going to say something afterwards. It's with love.
Bring it on. Well, and I agree with both those because what I teach is counterintuitive to what's being taught out there. But there's a reason for that. 92% of the people who set a goal, 92% fail.
Yes.
Fail.
And the reason why they fail, though, is because they don't put action behind it.
And what puts action behind it, because you're absolutely right.
Belief. Yeah.
Emotion, not fact, is the driver of all
emotion.
Action.
It's belief. It's, there's so many people out there that say you can manifest. And yes, with the exception of if your manifestation is sitting on the couch and saying, I want this, and then doing nothing to get there, then no. And if you're going to say, I want to be the healthiest I can be, and you take the steps to get there, then yes, which is perfect example at 43, when I started my business, like about a year after, I was close to 200 pounds, the unhealthiest I could be. I had a 6-year-old. I could barely get up and off the floor without getting out of breath. I was miserable, and mentally and emotionally, I was at a tailspin. This was in August, I think. And matter of fact, my 13-year-old just the other day looked at my passport. And the passport picture was from August of 2017, which was almost a year into my business. And she's looking at it going, and I'm going, she goes, that's you? Yes. And I was bigger. I was almost 200 pounds, y'all. And I explained that to her. She goes, that's not you. It was before I started coloring my hair, the sassy colors that I color it. And I said, yes, baby, that's me. And that was I got to thinking about it when she said that. That was a month before I reached out to my trainer, who has now been my trainer for 7 years. I was at the lowest of my lowest, and I was going out of country for the first time, so I needed my passport. Business was growing. It grew so fast, and it all of a sudden tailspin down. And I found myself right back where I felt like I'd started. Still getting the passport, still going, because it was part of the mastermind that I was in. And I was introduced to my trainer, and I was told to reach out to her. So I did. And I'm a lot better at asking for help now than I was back then. And I asked for help because I tried the gym. I tried having 9 rounds. And look, this comes to discipline, yes, and knowing your fallbacks. Okay? So I know that if it's cold outside, because I don't like the cold, I'm a Southern girl, I'm summer. I know if I don't like the cold and it is bitter cold outside and I'm supposed to go to the gym and work out, I'm not going. I know if it's raining really, really hard and I'm supposed to drive to the gym, I'm not going because one, I don't like driving in the rain. And two, I hate the cold. Like I despise it. Okay. Those were my fallbacks, right? Another fallback, I have 2 kids, they're special needs. If I got to drive 20 minutes to go to the gym, do the gym there, and 20 minutes back, that's 2 hours of my time. I'm going to find I guarantee you I can find 5 things I can do in those 2 hours and get them done. So my brain goes, no, that's not being very productive, which yes, it is. And that's not the point. My brain. So having someone who was online before COVID to do online training, to me, it was a win-win. I needed accountability. It's a win-win. I've been with her now 7 years. Talk about consistent progress over perfection. I no longer weigh 200 pounds. I'm 51. I'm the strongest and the healthiest I have ever been. I manifested and said, this is what I want. I want to be healthy. I had my kids late in life, 30 and 38. Therefore, I need to do something so I'm around, right? Okay. Sitting on the couch and saying I want and then doing nothing and changing nothing, nothing is going to happen, period. I can get on
And notice
and
what you
that
said
has
there.
everything to do with money too, right? I mean, it all correlates, right?
Notice what you said there. If you don't get up off your butt, you're not going to be around for your kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the driving factor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's talk. Let's talk about, first of all, let's blow some myths about goal setting. And you've already blown one of them, baby. And I was so happy to hear it. There's a popular thing out there right now. And again, if I hurt somebody's feelings, I don't mean to hurt your feelings, but you got to know the truth so you get out of that 92% that fails, okay? Just manifest it and the world will make it happen for you. No, it won't, okay? There's a phrase out there, the Lord helps those who help themselves, and the universe is the same way. If you're sitting there going, universe, I just want to sit back on my butt, let you do all the work for me. Universe is going, whoa, 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 whoa. How about you get up off your butt, right? Just like you did, Lisa Marie. Yeah. Okay, so that's one of them. Now, the next one. Have you heard of the Harvard goal setting study?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah, a lot of people have. It's been in best-selling books, stages around the world, and on and on and on. Still talked about, according to the study at Harvard. Depending on the version you've heard, either everybody that wrote down their goals, the few people that did, made more than everybody else combined, or everybody who wrote down their goals reached them. Okay? That's amazing. If it was true, but it's not. It's not. The goal, Harvard's confirmed it never happened. Okay, so is Yale. It's just yet another example of people who are out there selling ideas to make you feel good, but not get you the results. Let's get to real science. Let's talk some science here real quick. Prospect theory, which won the Nobel Prize. This is real science, not some of the pseudoscience that's being reported, okay? Taught us that we'll do more to avoid pain than we'll go toward pleasure. We'll do more to avoid pain than to go toward pleasure. So here's the problem. We associate pain with getting out of our comfort zone. Now, this also applies to economics. In fact, it won the Nobel Prize when it was applied to economics, okay? So this is direct for the subject of your podcast. For everybody here to listen about money, we're going to hit it dead on, okay? We associate pain with getting out of our comfort zone. So no matter how much positive visualization we do, and bunnies and unicorns and how great it's going to be, it helps, but it's not enough to get us out of the pain of our comfort zone.
Right.
What is? You already kind of nailed it when you said, I wouldn't be around for my kids, right? Ooh, you just created more pain than the pain of getting up off your butt and going to the gym or doing the online work, whatever it is. That's what the Oxcart technique is.
What
it is
could
the
worst thing? Now I remember what you said. What's the worst thing that could happen? And I remember thinking and looking in the mirror that if I did not do something, I had my kids when I was 30 and then 38. And so my youngest, again, like I said, at 43, she was 6. she's 13, y'all. I'm 51. She's going to be starting high school next year. You do the math, okay? That I knew that if I didn't do something, I was going to the likelihood that I was going to end up like the rest of my family, which was obese, diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, whatever, you name it. They have it. So there had to be something. And everything pointed to, not just physical health, but mental health. And I didn't not only did I not like the way I looked, I did just like the way I felt. And again, I was low. I tell people now, I don't like working out. They're like, you don't? Like, no, I don't.
No.
But I don't like how I feel when I don't. I do it more mentally. Yes, I love the muscles that I'm building. Okay, gonna go ahead and say that. And I love how I feel inside and how I feel after. And I don't like how I feel when I don't. And I don't want to be gone before my kids are grown.
And it's the combination of the two that will drive you, the carrot and the stick. So when people say, well, you can't look at failure, what'll happen if I don't reach my goal? Yes, it's more powerful. It's all about the why, still is, but not why you want to accomplish your goal. Not just that, but why you have to accomplish your goal. If I don't get up off my butt, I'm going to die. If I don't stop spending money on expensive coffee and blowing my money on these ways that don't help my future, I'm going to be poor. And I'll tell you, that drove me. Look, I'm supposed to never grow up to be anything. That's what drove me. It wasn't to have a big house and a fancy car. I don't care about those things. I'm my happiest in a tent, okay? I've got them all, but that's not what drove me. What drove me was the stick. If I don't keep going, I'll never grow up to be anything. So I got up off my butt and I still hit the same setbacks and disappointments and no's and everything else as before. But now I had something driving me. The stick built a fire inside of me that got me past. I didn't care about that crap anymore. Get out of my way because I have to do this. With your finances, it couldn't be more true.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's that way with your finances and your health and how they all intertwine. And I'm going to state that for my listeners, if you're thinking, oh, wait, he's saying I need to get rid of everything, not going out to eat, not going to the coffee and all of that. And yes, that might be what worked for him. And what I am going to say is if you can discipline yourself and look at how much you're spending a month in coffee or out to eat and say, okay, instead of going 6 days a week to Starbucks coffee, and by the way, I don't like coffee, and so I don't understand what the whole thing is about $12 a cup of coffee, but okay. I don't like coffee. With a caveat, I found a place, and if they were anywhere in South Carolina, I would probably be in a really world of trouble. They are in Texas, by the way, and they're in California, and they're also, the closest one is Tennessee, which is like 6 hours away. So thank God they are nowhere near. So when I go out of town, y'all, I go to a Dutch Brothers, and I get a picture perfect because OMG. And thank you for not being anywhere near me. But the point is, can you look at it and say, I'm willing to cut back? So as an example, I'm a Southerner. Can't tell, didn't know, just that way. I love sweet tea. If you're from the South, you know what sweet tea is. If you're not, look it up. You'll figure it out. Or you know somebody, you'll know what it is. Up north, y'all don't have sweet tea. Y'all have iced tea, and then you give us this fake sugar syrup or whatever, and that is not the same thing. Just let me tell you, okay? Okay. I love sweet tea. I grew up on sweet tea. Back in the day when I was really small, my grandmother would actually do it as sun tea. Do you know what I'm talking about, right, Terry? Right? Okay.
100%.
Right?
I'm from
You're
the South.
You're from
Absolutely.
Texas. You know exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
And sweet tea, you brew it and you put sugar in it, period. Okay? Melts. Sugar doesn't melt in cold water. If you don't remember that, all those restaurants need to go back to science. Go back to school and retake science because it doesn't melt in cold water. It just doesn't. I love sweet tea. I got in the habit of Oh, I'm going to be really honest, brutal. Okay, here we go. I got in the habit of going to McDonald's or Sonic every single day.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
This is when I work corporate. Every single day. When I was going corporate, it was a large sweet tea. I'd make myself feel better again. Egg McMuffin, the white egg white McMuffin because it was healthier. It's fun. It's funny now. It's funny now. It's so hilarious now. Large sweet tea. If you've had McDonald's sweet tea, you understand how much sugar they put in that tea every day. I would drink several cups of tea all day long once I started my own business. I was used to drinking tea, right? My trainer, love her. She says, Lisa, we need to cut. Actually, before she even said it, she was asking me on a day. I said, if you tell me I need to stop drinking sweet tea, I'm going to tell you it's done. We're over. We're out. And the reason why I'm saying this is because if you're all of a sudden putting that block on Terry's telling me I can't ever go have my Starbucks coffee, that's not what he's saying. May sound like that's what he's saying.
That is not what I'm saying.
But that's not what he's saying. She goes,
Correct.
Nope. If I tell you that, you won't stick to it. You won't do it. And it won't be a lifestyle change. She said, however,
100%.
we need to figure out what we can do because, again, we all know sugar is addicting, right? And y'all, those sweet coffee drinks at Starbucks has sugar in it. What I did is I agreed to immediately stop all fast food sweet tea. All of it. Immediately. Let me just tell you, that was a crash in itself. And then I agreed to go, and part of that was I agreed to go and only have, because I don't drink coffee. My only caffeine is my sweet tea, and I don't drink unsweet tea. That's just disgusting. It should be against the law. My only thing was I would do 2 cups a day. So I'd have a cup in the morning with my breakfast and a cup at dinner. Y'all, I measure it to make sure I'm not getting more of a cup. I pour it out of my pitcher and measure it and now I've gotten so used to it that if I go to a restaurant, I normally ask for extra ice, which is what I do. And I end up with only a cup anyway. And then I don't let them refill it. And if I do go to a restaurant that's extra sweet, I have to have them bring me a cup of unsweet and I have to mix it because it's too sweet now for me. I can't drink it. I also cut back on the amount of sugar I put in my gallon of tea that I make each time. Most Southerners put depending on where they live and how much sugar they like, anywhere between 2 to 3 cups. That makes my eyeballs hurt just thinking about it. I was putting a cup and a half, and I went back to a cup. I won't go below that. It's just right. My daughters are used to it. My 13-year-old now, whenever she goes to McDonald's, she loves their nuggets. If she goes there, she actually asks for half and half sweet, half unsweet, because she can't drink their tea either because I've never put that amount of sugar in our tea anymore since she was 6, so she wasn't drinking tea then, right? So she's only known the lesser part. My point is I said, okay, I'm willing to do this. I did it. I'm willing to do this. I did it. I didn't have to cut it completely out. I just had to back it away, right? Now we're building muscle, even more muscle, more defined muscle. So I need more protein. So now I'm not concentrating on anything but the amount of protein, because if I get 100 to 130 grams of protein in it, I'm going to find I don't want any of the stuff to begin with anyway, which works, by the way. So you have to be willing to make the change. You got to make some kind of change. You can't say, I want some kind of change and still go to Starbucks 6 days a week and then want to know where the hell your money went.
So I couldn't agree with you more on it's got to be a plan that you will stick to. And I've actually got 2 chapters. Now, the Oxcart technique, Blueprint for Success, talks about how to apply this technique, and it is a very specific technique, to all aspects of your life, to your marriage. I use it, and it has saved marriages, so many marriages. It's amazing. Helped people lose that weight, get people off addiction. I've got 2 chapters specifically on finances. One is if you've got a financial goal, a business goal, something like that, how do you blow the doors off that? But the other one is, let's say you don't. Let's say we're just talking, I need to set up a nest egg for myself. That's all. I don't make a whole lot of money right now, but I need to set up a nest egg. This tells you exactly how to do that and gives you examples from people who have done it. And part of that is indeed, okay, I'm not going to stop drinking beer completely, but I'm going to cut down too. And even though I'm very against cigarettes, boy, don't have that argument with some people. Okay, you don't have to quit completely if you're not gonna, because you're not gonna. Okay, let's cut it down to half a pack a day. But it's working on that. It's setting up a daily action plan that you will absolutely stick to. And this, unlike the last time you did an action plan you would stick to, this gives you the motivation to do so, both the carrot and the stick. It builds it in, not just why you want to, why you have to. And if you do this technique correctly, the difference made in so many people's lives is just amazing, because emotion, not fact, is the driver of all action. It's got to have that emotion to it, something to go toward, something to go away from. And with your finances, you can get passionate about that if you do it right.
So can you give an example of how you use the Oxcart technique for yourself and how it helped you? I want them to be able to see, hear, and for those who are watching us on YouTube, to be able to see and listen to an example of what makes this different and how they could actually walk away, say, from this podcast, taking this technique. And because one of the things that you say is that the emotion is driving them in the right direction. And you're right. You can, it's kind of like people saying, oh, I want to get fit, I'm going to go buy a treadmill. They go buy a treadmill and then they never get on it.
Right.
Okay, right. You bought the treadmill, but what the hell is that supposed to do?
Well, that's what people do with a goal. They get excited. I'm really going to do it this time. But over time, the passion fades and they find they're not sticking to that goal. Okay, here's the deal. And let me give you specifics, though I want to say, please make sure and get the book. Not that I need book sales.
Honey,
I'm doing all right.
I wrote it down. I'm going to go check it out. I'm going to tell them they need to check it out too. But I'd like it. And here's the thing. I am always willing to learn. And that's something I tell my listeners and I tell my clients all the time when I'm doing the one-on-one CFO work and the wealth coaching is this isn't something you're going to stop doing. Your mindset and the management and all of that is it just like your health and all of it. It's something you're going to continuously do because it's just like it's just like exercising. You're exercising your brain. You're making sure that you're staying on track because sometimes life happens and it's going to try to knock you off track. And having these different tools helps you keep growing and learning different ways and having different tools. So go ahead and I'm all ears. I want to know.
You got it. Okay, it's simple. It's a simple technique. 3 pieces of paper, that's all it is, but so tremendously powerful. The first piece of paper is going to be your stick. This should create some emotion that kicks you out of your comfort zone, all right? This should hurt or piss you off like it did for me. Mine was if I quit, if I stay on the ground where I was at right then, that guy's going to be right. I'd never grow up to be anything. I'd be poor the rest of my life and feeling depressed about how, what that means for me. I'm going to be not being able to buy medications because that's expensive these days, right? It was back then too. And it went on. I'm like, that gives you an idea. And there's some examples in the book that are just heart-wrenching. Now, when I read that, and especially for me, it was never grow up to be anything. That pissed me off. That guy wouldn't be right. Tell my dad that wasn't going to happen. Okay. So I would read that and I would go, there's no way in the world I'm going to let that happen. I'll do whatever it takes to make sure that son of a gun is wrong. And you feel the emotion, right? What does it take? Next piece of paper, my daily action plan. Again, these are the steps I will take. I will absolutely take. Whether it's the money you're going to save, the money you're not going to spend on, whatever it is in this case, or You're going to work out. You're not going to eat this. It's going to be the actions you will stick to no matter what. And then the final one is your carrot, your success scenario. How amazing it's going to be when you do reach your goal. So this is your bunnies and unicorns, if you will. This is your carrot. This is something to go toward. And you do it like this. You post it up where you can see it. You read it every morning. Fill your scenario first. And that should fire you up. That should, again, we're not looking to knock you down. We're looking to build the fire inside of you. All right? Make you go, crap, that ain't going to happen. Today I will. Next piece of the paper, right? Today I'm going to do this. Fine, I'm going to do this. And then you read the success scenario and you go, wow, okay, that's what it's going to be like because I did. Problem solution format. That kicks off your day.
Ooh.
It focuses you in big time.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you do it again.
Right. And so at the end of each day, do you rewrite them?
You don't rewrite them at the end of the day, though these are fluid documents. You are free to do so. They will change, okay? But you post these up and you read them out loud. Okay, how did I do today? And by the way, at the bottom of that middle page, that action plan, there's an arrow that points both directions. Towards your failure scenario, towards your success scenario, reminding you either one could be your future, depending on the actions you take or do not take.
Oh, I love that because, okay. I love that.
Light bulbs are coming on, baby.
Did you see them? Did you see them?
I saw them. I love seeing that in people. I love that.
Coming. Okay. I like that for two reasons. One, it reminds me of, in some ways, OMG, I've done this several times and didn't know what the technique was called. I called it grit and determination more than anything.
Amen.
And my coach says it's resilience, and I agree. And when you're wanting to reach a new level with your business and your life, you can, because again, it's fluid, it's going to change, right? So you can write that and then be able to, because I truly believe in saying stuff out loud, including the affirmations. I don't think you should just read them. I think you should read them say them out loud. What I do is I write them, I read them, and then I say them out loud. And then I have them on some of them are still in my mirror, actually. So I have them on my mirror or I have them on my computer. And when I see them, I say them out loud. I have an app that comes up and it has a whole bunch of different affirmations that I put in myself, and they come up all day long. And when they pop up on my phone, I will quietly say it to myself or out loud say it to myself, depending on who's around or what's going on. Because when you're saying it, it's a way of you're retraining your brain, because it's not just you reading it, you're saying it out loud. And so your brain's taking it in. It's a scientific.
One of your action plans,
it's a cognitive
one of your points in your action plan is going to be you do your daily affirmations. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then you've got the two arrows, and it's reminding you, okay, if you don't do your daily action plan to get to this next level in your business so that you can have all these things that you're wanting to achieve and have, then you're going to be here. And then if you do, it's reminding that. So it's, I like it. I'm like,
isn't it great?
I like it. It's another tool. And now I really want to go get the book. If someone who's listening has had a hard time getting off their ass, right? Or getting out of their head, because I'm notorious for getting inside of my head and not getting out. Eventually I do, but some people have even a harder time.
Yeah.
When you explain the Oxcart technique, so what is the first step? The first step is you write down that page 1, which is your stick, like where you're at and what's pissing you off.
You bet. When I'm coaching somebody, first of all, we try to dig down into, okay, what has been holding you back? What's your pain point? What's your fear? What's your self-doubt? What's the excuses that you think are true? Like, I didn't have time to get to that. Yeah, you did. You did something that was more comfortable than something that was uncomfortable. Okay. So we get into that. And that is a pain point. Because again, getting out of your comfort zone is painful. Okay. Now, let's develop, that failure scenario. is this, if you've done it right, this should be very emotional. It should be more painful than your other pain points, than getting out of your comfort zone for it to work. If you just go, oh, I'm going to be poor, doesn't create emotion, ain't going to work. If you get in there, what does that mean? What does that mean to your spouse? What does that mean to your kids? What does that mean to people who are important to you? Because we'll do more for others than for ourselves often, right? So the picture, let me tell you about my wedding, my marriage, Oxcart. Okay? Because that'll hit home if I can do it without crying. And I actually mean that. When I did the Audible for my book, I had to stop the recording several times because I kept breaking down. And in there, in my failure scenario, I put in there, I've screwed up. And this won't be exact. I've hurt Michelle in a way that I can never come back from. The look at her, I'm getting emotional, man. The look at her eyes when she looks at me is no longer filled with love, but with disdain and hurt. I've now hurt wow. See, that's how it works. Okay. I'm going to stop there so I can keep going. Now, my action plan. Obviously, I'm not going to look at other women. I'm not going to be stupid, right? I'm not going to flirt. I'm not going to look at pornography, those things. But also, I'm going to do little things every day to let her know that I love her. I'm going to tell her I love her several times a day. I'm going to hold the door open for her. I'm going to keep my bodily noises to myself. I'm going to show her love and respect for the amazing person she is. So I've got that. I mean, it is a written out, and it's in my book, actually. You'll read it, my actual plan in my book. So you've heard my failure scenario that I could get through. You've heard my part of my action plan now, my success scenario. We're going to grow old together. We're going to travel around the world. 20 years from now, she's going to look at me with that same love in her eyes as when we first realized we loved each other, maybe even more because of all the challenges we faced together. We still hold hands when we're walking down the street or watching TV. You think there's any way in the world I'm going to fool around on my wife with those two things? Ain't going to happen. And am I going to stop showing her love and respect? Ain't going to happen. That's the power of the Oxcart technique. And it gives examples throughout the book. It gives examples. And I want to say before I forget, you're looking at the cover of it back there. By the time this airs, actually, I've got the second edition coming out. It's going to look different, but look for it on Amazon and at my website. You'll see the link below. I caught one of my own housekeepers one day as I was writing the chapter for addiction, wondering if I wanted to keep it in there or not. I caught one of my housekeepers rifling through my drawers looking for my leftover prescription painkillers. I did the Oxcart on her. So guess what? You're going to prison. You're going to prison. Tears start rolling down. This is a felony. You're stealing my prescription painkiller. It's a felony. You're going to prison. I let that soak in just for a couple of minutes. So it really soaked in, the emotion hit. Then I gave her the action plan, unless you go to inpatient counseling. And after that, outpatient counseling. Oh, thank you. No. I will follow up on you to make sure you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you do, now let's give the success scenario. You can be free. You can stop lying to your husband. You can stop lying to your friends and family. You can stop lying to yourself. And I'm ecstatic to say that was about a dozen years ago. And as of this day, she's still clean.
That's amazing.
That's the power of the Oxcart technique. Now, I think for people who are watching this video, I think I just disappeared if I'm looking at my screen right. Can you see me right now?
But no, but it's okay. Keep talking and we'll figure it out.
Okay, you got it. I know the audio is still working for everybody listening.
Yeah, and I got a tech guy.
I'm not that pretty anyway.
He'll get it taken care of.
Okay, wonderful.
I love that because I think that it provides a way of opening a door that maybe some people didn't think was possible to open. And I can't wait to dig in. And I love the fact that you created this, and this concept came from you being at your lowest moment, which I think is really important for my listeners to understand. And then then you realize, oh, okay, that wow, wait, this works. There's something to this. So we're going to try it on others as well. There's something to this because the emotion is what drives us, which is true because emotion is what drove me to start my own business. People know, you can go read about it, the migraines, all the things. And when I was let go, I
Wow.
made the decision that I wasn't going back to corporate because I was convinced I was going to have a nervous breakdown. I was going to the hospital or worse. And the fact that I'm as healthy as I am, even though all those years of the amount of Excedrin tension headache medicine I
Mm.
took and Imitrex for migraines that I took is a miracle
Oh,
beyond itself. It's emotion that drives us because that's what drove me to say, okay, no more of this. I'm done. This is no longer an option. Okay, what steps do I have to take? Now, I actually want to put in there that sometimes some of the steps are not the easiest steps to make.
yeah.
Example, the first
Yeah.
step I had to do in order to go for the dream was I had to have my vehicle repossessed. I
Mm.
had to
Mm.
give
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going back to corporate, and I was gonna start my business, but I didn't have money coming in, y'all.
I'm so proud of you, Lisa Marie. That's
So
amazing. I
so
love that.
sometimes those steps are really, really fucking
Oh,
hard. That was the first thing. I had to have my vehicle repossessed. Y'all, I was barely making ends meet when it happened to begin with, and the vehicle's repossessed. The second thing I had to do, I had to go to the state and I had to get food stamps so that my girls could be fed. That was hard. The third thing that I had to do, which should have told me I was meant to be keep doing the fractional CFO and the wealth coaching all along, and it didn't, but it should have, was I had to come up with a plan and go to my landlord and say, I've been let go. Here's the plan. Will you prorate my rent? And then April of next year, remember I have accounting background, so that means I know taxes, right? And I don't know as much as I used to because I don't stay on top of it, but that's not the point. I know enough. I knew enough to know about how much I was going to get back. Okay. Because I'd worked corporate. And I said, prorate it, then I'll be able to give you this much and catch it up in April when I file my taxes because I was going to get a nice, hefty refund. Y'all, if she wouldn't have said yes, we wouldn't be sitting here, period. And for whatever reason, even though she had two people tell her not to do it, I believe, I heard a voice that told me I needed to be at home and that now was the time. She was being told inside her gut to do it. She drew up the agreement. She did it. And guess who made damn sure she was catching her up come that following April? And come to find out, I've been her best tenant the entire time. And now my goal is to go and buy a house. I want my own house again. And
yeah.
at that time, what was driving me was the emotion of keep a place and get out of the corporate where it was slowly but surely killing me. Right.
Something to go away
Right.
from. Yep.
And that doesn't mean the next few steps are going to be, easy peasy steps. Repossession and get on food stamps is not those easy peasy steps, I promise. And then asking someone,
Love it.
hey, prorate my rent was also not an easy peasy step. Okay. Did it all out on faith and okay, this is going to happen. And then afterwards, I took action and made damn sure that I didn't have to go back to corporate. So there's steps, and sometimes you're going to hit, I don't say a brick wall, you're going to hit hiccups. You're going to have hiccups. And that's where you have to
Yes.
determine, okay, this is a hiccup. How do I keep moving forward? And I believe that Oxcart is a way to actually help you remember like your why and to help you go, okay, this is a hiccup. I can go around this or under it or whatever, however you got to do it. I can crawl, whatever it is you got to do, and then keep going. And that's what I'm taking from it. And that's what I want you as my sassy listeners to take from it, because what Terry has created here is flipping. Y'all, is phenomenal. I have notes. You have a free offer for my listeners. Can you please tell them what that is?
To tell you the truth, we're redoing it. got some exciting announcements. Should be by the time this airs or coming up soon. We're kicking off a major podcast all around the Oxcart technique and using failure to fuel your fire. And I'm going to be going on there kind of like Lisa Marie does, and really giving advice on how to get past those fears, those self-doubts, those excuses, how to use the Oxcart technique in every aspect of your life. But we're also going to be interviewing some amazing people, like one gentleman we're already got set up to interview. His name's Kurt Jones. You might not recognize that name, but you recognize Dippin' Dots, and he founded Dippin' Dots. And of course, he's worth a ton of money, but he wasn't always. He went through the setbacks also, and we're going to take a deep dive on that. The gentleman who sold art.com for $300 million to Walmart. We're going to be talking up to him about that point in his life where he turned it around and what fueled his fire. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And with that, we're going to be we'll have some giveaways, including we're going to have a drawing where you can spend time with me, if that's of interest to you, to really do a deep dive on your life, whatever aspect you want to. A lot of great stuff. I think TerryLFossum.com. TerryLFossum.com is where we're going to do all that. So jump on over, follow my podcast, check out my TED Talk. Just Google Terry Fossum TEDx, and you can check that out. It's it hit number 2 in the world. That was really cool. And the next generation of the book will be coming out very, very soon as well. A lot of great stuff going on, Lisa Marie.
Awesome. I want to thank you so much for being on my show and being a guest. And honestly, I can't wait to have you back. And for my sassy listeners, y'all, look, go get the book. Go Google, go find the TEDx, and go to the website, get this information. Again, it's another tool to help you move forward and change your relationship with money and change your relationship with yourself and your health and everything so that you can move forward. And just, until next time, remember, stay sassy. Bye.
Bye-bye, y'all.
Thanks for joining us this week on Cash and Sass. Check us out on social media and on our website at www.thesassywealthcoach.com, where you can download my free Money Story Start Guide. The website again is www.thesassywealthcoach.com. And as always, subscribe to the show to catch every new episode and leave us a review so we can continue to bring you fresh content. And remember, yes, it is possible to have sassy and sexy money. See you next week.